Nobody loves betting the preseason as much as we do. We wouldn't be here otherwise. But let's be honest with ourselves. Week 3 is some truly disgusting football. Hey, Dave Loughren here, heading into Friday, 4 games. I'm recording this Thursday around 2 o'clock Eastern time, so no clue what happened on Thursday. And if any news breaks, feel free to follow me over on Twitter at Loughy_D. My handle's right there. If anything relevant, pertinent, you know where to find me, because I'm not going to record another video just for any changes that we may have to this one. That goes for the preseason, regular season, you name it. And as always, if you want to follow all of my picks, sweat some bets with me, not just this preseason, but throughout the entirety of the year, you can get all of them 100% free. Never going to charge you a cent. I don't want to. I'd rather do it for free. I have fun doing this. Link down there, first one in the description, over on Tails. Just click follow. Once you get in there, set up an account for free. It takes 2 seconds to do so. And then turn on notifications if you want to always have access to the best lines. And of course, all of my picks that never make it onto these videos, picks for games that I may not talk about, or picks that just come out after these videos, you can find them all right there on Tails. So come hit me up, give me a follow, and we'll have a great season. Let's get into Friday's games. All right, first up, Eagles and the Jets. Jets laying 1.5 at home. Oh, and I forgot to mention, if you appreciate this content, hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Appreciate you guys in advance. And hopefully, it's good for you as well. You know, if Tanner McKee didn't play last week, it's kind of hard to think that we're going to see him out there on Friday. And we already know that neither Nick Sirianni or Aaron Glenn plan on playing their starters this week. We've seen the starters for the Jets in back-to-back weeks, and Sirianni never plays his starters in the preseason. I don't see why he would begin doing so against a bunch of fringe players in week 3. You also have Tyrod Taylor out for the year, or out for the preseason with an injury, which means that we are looking at, well, Adrian Martinez and Brady Cook for the Jets, who haven't been terrible, right? But let's not pretend that they're world beaters. And then in all likelihood, Dorian Thompson-Robinson and Kyle McCord for the Eagles. Those guys have been very bad, particularly DTR. I mean, he has looked awful throughout this preseason. There's really not that much to this game outside of that. And that's why first of all, I will be completely upfront with you guys. I scale things back in week 3 of the preseason. I'm not going to pretend that there's, the most insane edge from week 1 to 2 and there's nothing in week 3, but I do think it's different. We're looking at like games inside of games during the preseason and then seasons inside of seasons from week to week to week. And with week 3, you're talking like back of the roster type of guys. And, that's why I typically don't want to bet unders in a spot like this, because there is so much, the volatility in these type of games is crazy. You have all of these fringe players, a lot of guys that won't even be on the roster come next week. And you have so many of these plays that could turn into defensive touchdowns, special teams touchdowns, setting them up at the 5. See what I'm saying? Like, you don't even need good offensive play. Sometimes terrible offensive play can result in more points. We actually saw that last week with a ton of games, particularly the Eagles and Browns. The only risk here, because I'm leaning Jets -1.5, is that Tanner McKee does see the field. It just would be very strange, given that they clearly know what they have in him, and they didn't give him any work last week at all, which burned us. So give me Jets -1.5, -105 on FanDuel, by the way. I think there's a slight quarterback edge in New York, given how Martinez has acquitted himself this preseason and of course last season as well. He didn't look bad. Vikings at the Titans. Titans 4-point home favorites here, probably because Brian Callahan suggested that his starters would play again this week. I'm just not convinced it's going to be for very long. Cam Ward's already played 5 drives in the preseason. Understandably, he's a rookie. I get all of that, but still, I mean, do you want to keep this guy fresh? I don't know. I can't get in Callahan's head, but what I can say is that last game, he kept them out there longer than you would have expected, played into the second quarter, 3 full drives in that one as well. I think it makes more sense that we see Brandon Allen and Trevor Siemian out there for the large majority of this one. They cut Tim Boyle before week 2, and Will Levis is on the IR. So these are the only 2 guys available behind Cam Ward this week. And for the Vikings, we know that Kevin O'Connell isn't going to play J.J. McCarthy or the starters. but I do wonder how much work we're going to see from the other guys. Interesting little wrinkle in this game, actually. O'Connell talked extensively this week, a few days ago, about how all three of his quarterbacks behind McCarthy and how he likes all of them, right? He mentioned that multiple times when speaking to the press. To me, if Sam Howell had locked up the QB2 role, this would be a straight game from Max Brosmer and Brett Rippon. Like that's who we'd be seeing here. But this actually feels like a game where all three of these guys in some form or fashion are competing for the QB2 role and the backup behind JJ McCarthy. And a big reason for this is that Max Brosmer, who's had a much better preseason than anyone would have ever expected, appears to be competing for that job as well. At the very least, the QB2, and it wouldn't be crazy if Sam Howell, who came into training camp as the clear QB2, doesn't even make the roster. We've seen flashes from him, though, last preseason in Seattle. Either way, I think 4 points is a little bit too much, given that I don't expect Cam Ward and the starters to play much. I wouldn't even be surprised if they didn't play, honestly. But look, that's just speculation. You have to be certain that you're shopping lines, though, because on DraftKings, the Vikings are +2.5. If you like the Titans, go grab them inside of a field goal on DraftKings. They're +3 on FanDuel. But on Bet365, told you guys all preseason long, like this has been our sweet spot. If you want the Vikings, and I did bet this, the Vikings are +4. +4. So if you're not on Bet365 yet, link in the description, bet $5 on a $10 deposit, and whether your bet wins or loses, you have $200 in bonus bets coming your way, setting you up nicely heading into the regular season. 21 years or older to gamble. Gambling problem, caller text 1-800-GAMBLER. But anyone comes up to you and says, here, I'll give you $200, just give me 5 in return. You're going to take that offer in a second. Give me Vikings +4 on Bet365. This just feels like too big of a number for me. Falcons at the Cowboys. Cowboys -2.5 here. This should be fun. Easton Stick versus Joe Milton on Friday night. Ben DiNucci was just signed by Atlanta after Emory Jones was cut after getting hurt. And the Cowboys have Will Grier behind Joe Milton, but my guess is this is going to be mostly an Easton Stick and a Milton game. They'll battle it out. By battle it out, I mean see who can throw the most interceptions and incompletions. I couldn't like this game any less. I really couldn't. You know, it's a shame, too, because we have picked on Easton Stick forever in the preseason. For those of you who have been with me for the past however many years, this has been a great spot. We've made money by going against any team that starts Easton Stick. It's genuinely remarkable that this guy lands on a roster, oftentimes as the second quarterback on the roster every single year. The problem is that Joe Milton hasn't been any better. And Brian Schottenheimer already says he knows what he has in Will Grier, so he wants to give Milton more work, which means if Milton played like this whole game or 3 quarters, that wouldn't be a surprise. Now, I'd lean under 36.5 here, but it's not a confident play, and it goes back to what I said in the previous the other game. I'm not betting the spread or money line unless I get more pertinent information, and if I do, any plays I have, I'll always throw them on tails for free before they ever land here or on Twitter, right? So make sure you're following me there. But for now, I'll lean under 36.5. It's not a spot I bet, though. Let's wrap it up with the Bears and the Chiefs. Chiefs, my 1.5 point favorites at home. You know, if I could say for sure that Tyson Bagent was playing in this game, I would love the Bears. I'm telling you, this has been our most profitable quarterback since we started betting the preseason a couple of years ago. At the very least, last year, Tyson Bagent was phenomenal for us. I don't remember how many years he's been around. What I do know is that last year he was excellent. Like, there's been no single preseason where we've had a better quarterback than last year with Tyson Bagent. He just signed a contract, though, an extension, and I'm pretty sure Ben Johnson's seen all he needs to see. It's kind of reminiscent of the Tanner McKee situation from last week. He didn't play because Sirianni got everything he wanted and more in week 1 out of McKee. Lock him up. QB2 behind Jalen Hurts. But also, Ben Johnson and Andy Reid have both already confirmed that their starters would get some playing time. I just expect to see a lot more work in this game from the 3s and 4s. Like Andy Reid said, yeah, they'll start the game and we'll see what happens. To me, it sounds like 1 drive, maybe 2. On the other side, 1 drive, maybe 2, right? Caleb Williams played plenty. He's looked good in camp. They look good right now. That would be shocking if we saw like a full quarter from each. I would be shocked. So here's how I see it playing out. I'm no mind reader. We all know that. If you have a better guess than I do, let me know and leave it in the comments down below. I try and read and respond to all of them. At the very least, read them. This is what makes the most sense. The starters for both teams play a drive. Tyson Bagent and Gardner Minshew play a couple drives, maybe 3, but I would say a couple. And then the 3s and the 4s end up playing the rest of the game. Ultimately, to me, though, this is an evenly matched game if it plays out the way I think it does. So I'll just play the number here. Small play, half a unit. Like I said, I scale things back typically in week 3. And grab the Bears money line at plus 125 on BetMGM, especially because, look, home field advantage, it's not nearly as useful or meaningful in the preseason as it is in a real game in the regular season. So there you have it. Bears money line plus 125 on BetMGM. We have a positive edge on that over in the live odds tool at OddsShopper as well. So that's not bad. Anyway, just playing the number there. Appreciate you guys hanging out as always. Hey, hit that thumbs up, subscribe before you go. Give me a follow over on Twitter. And hopefully on Tails, we can sweat the games together this season. Otherwise, see you back here tomorrow for the final 10 games of the 2025 preseason. Bye-bye.